This is Jason Verney's podcast. I am Jason Verney. I wanted to talk about, on this podcast, the Korean Cultural Centre London, the KCC UK, as it's kind of abbreviatedly known. I wanted to talk about that. It's film season, it's film seasons, and a couple of people that are just as kind of important to me in my Korean culture related past as the film seasons themselves. This is 2017. The Korean Cultural Centre have in store this year a season. I think they're going to have three seasons of films throughout the year, probably just in time for the London Korean Film Festival, which is actually sort of put on essentially by the Korean Cultural Centre. It attracts lots of people. It's been going for many years now, it's always a success. I've missed it on the last year, or maybe the year before as well. But I think the year before I actually caught the tail end. But last year, being in Korea and elsewhere in Asia, I missed it. Ironically, that's where I was. What I want to speak about is the first season of films. What I would talk about briefly is when I started getting into the Korean Cultural Centre, when I first discovered it, it was thanks to the film nights they did. Now these were either fortnightly films, not based around any particular season, just a free film. They could have been a relatively new film, a comedy or a thriller, or an older film, a classic film. And that's where I when I started venturing there, probably in 2011, maybe even before. These films got me into Korea, didn't get me into the country, although ultimately they did in ways of my research and just a general fondness for the culture and wanting to know more about it. So that's the films themselves have got me into Korean culture. And so has the establishment, this particular establishment, as in the Korean Cultural Centre. It's based in Charing Cross, or just off Trafalgar Square. So that's these kind of seasons or these kind of films, free films at the Korean Cultural Centre is what got me into Korean culture and in even Korean movies, and venturing into even other Asian movies that I wasn't already into. I have to add there, I guess, that I had already started watching Japanese ones prior to the Korean ones, but that's just it's all of it a bit of a blur, but I could probably recap in more detail at another time. But yeah, so that's a brief history of my connection and the Korean Cultural Centre's connection with the films and the films that they show. They also have free films. They have a big library of Korean films that you can basically go there. You can't actually take them away. You can sit down, watch any of the DVDs for free. Some of the films, some of the series, TV dramas, Korean dramas. The choice is yours. So that's that. But the other thing is this latest season is called Chills and Thrills. Now, you can probably guess what that involves. It's essentially horror films as well as thriller films, mysteries. It's kind of 6 films in this first season this year. It's curated by a good friend of mine as well, Colette Balmain. Dr. Colette Balmain. She's a lecturer. She is also a very heavily into her Korean films, Korean studies, Asian cinema, and other sort of links to Korean and Asian culture. We've known each other for quite a few years. Actually, she was probably her and another person who's involved with this, Paul Quinn. He's not a curator in any way this particular season. He's taking part, as is Colette, in 1 or 2 of the actual screenings with an introduction before. Anyway, so I've probably known these 2 lovely characters for the last 5 years or so. So I'm very sort of proud of what they've put together, or what Colette's put together, and what Paul has in store for us with his introductions, as well as Colette's introductions, and also Anton Bittel. He's also, I should say, Dr. Anton Bittel. He's also he's very knowledgeable in film, and you might have even seen him before at London Korean film festivals or film nights or what have you. So this particular, what can we expect from this Chills and Thrills season? Well, as I said before, it's 6 films. Some of them are kind of the director's debuts. Some of them are by, or 1 or 2 are by female directors. There's a couple of compilation ones thrown in there as well. The first one, which was actually screened last Thursday. So that last Thursday was the first of the 6 Thursdays there'll be for this. But 1 or 2 of these films as well will be reshown, screened elsewhere. For example, the one that was on this last Thursday, Princess Aurora. There will actually be another free screening at Deptford Cinema, if you can make it down there. I believe that's Saturday. I will say this at this point, that if you want to see any of this information sort of in written form, and maybe in rambling form, or you can actually go to my website, which is minimovie.com. Basically, that's where you'll find full details of this. All the 6 films being shown, the directors' names, the details, the Korean titles, trailers, and more. Thanks in part to Colette and to the Korean Cultural Centre for some of that information. Probably a lot of that information, to be honest. As I say, Princess Aurora started the film, this mini season, last Thursday. It was kind of almost packed audience in the Korean Cultural Centre, and I should just reiterate or mention that these are free screenings. You just book online. If you have problems booking online on the Korean Cultural Centre website, just contact them by email. They're normally very quick to reply, and they normally sort you out with seats if there are some, which there should be if you do it early enough. The Korean Cultural website, Cultural Centre website, London, is www.kccut.org.uk. There's also there's the Korean Film Fest website as well, but which is koreanfilm.co.uk. But the KCC UK one I just mentioned is where you can find out about all things Korea, not just films. So it's a good place to go to. And while we're on the subject of mentioning websites, sorry, this is in a bit of a funny order, is a very good one with calendar of all events in London that he, Mr. Philip Goman, can think of, and basically information he's garnered. This website is called LondonKoreanLinks.net, www, obviously, .LondonKoreanLinks.net. Very good website. As I say, it has a calendar. All these films are showing wherever they're showing in London, not just the Korean Cultural Centre. There's other screenings going on. Speaking of which, 1 or 2 of these films, as I said, will be... Well, one of them will be shown at Deptford Cinema. I think there's a couple of things... Colette herself she's doing a talk on school horror at the New Malden Library on the 21st of February. I believe there's also going to be a screening at SOAS. I'll try and put more information on that on my website in updating the article that you can find on the homepage in due course, as and when I know more. So these films, they are... Colette's actually mentioned that most of them are sort of female orientated, or at least the female leads, or school based. And what with the popularity of films like Train to Busan, The Wailing, and others recently, this is kind of a great time to experience other recent films and see the Korean horror, thriller, revenge, mystery genre. Obviously it's a combination of genres, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I've missed there. I mean, really, it's a good season. It started last Thursday. The first film was great. The introduction by Colette was good as well. It was a bit of an unfortunate thing at the end. There was a bit of a technical issue where we lost the last sort of few seconds of the film, I believe. So it was cut in more ways than one. In other words, director saying cut, and perhaps with the genre being with, blood or revenge or whatever. That's quite ironic. But to be honest, even with the film ending where it did, it was perfect. It was a perfect ending in my eyes. It was a perfect place to end it anyway. So it could have very well been the last shot, as it were. But I might even wander down to, or say wander, that's a bit of a trek, but get on the train, tube, overland, whatever, to Deptford, to go to the little quaint Deptford cinema to see the free screening this Saturday of that same film. So just because it's always easier to watch a film a second time round, as I've been speaking about in other podcasts, knowing what to expect, and also, to see it on a different screen, different seats. So the Deptford cinema does have proper cinema seats. It's one of these cinemas that I believe they're just trying to keep open, and they show all kinds of films that are important to the world. Sort of human rights stories. They've screened one or two films regarding Jeju, the problems with Jeju Island and the Navy base that's being built there. Perhaps even one about Sewol, the incident, the ferry in Korea, which I've spoken about on other podcasts. So I really wanted to just do a quick podcast mentioning this Chills and Thrills season, which is at the Korean Cultural Centre, completely free. It's February, throughout February and March until the season's finished, and there'll be a special screening here and there. And each film will have a introduction by one of the three people I mentioned. I think they're all pretty much doing one or two introductions each. Colette, Paul Quinn, and Anton Bittel. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I will say that I'll hopefully be at most of these screenings. I'm trying to get myself back into Korean Cultural Centre, going there for various functions. I mean, I filmed a function there recently, the Korean Artists Association music sort of opening reception. I was commissioned to film there, so I saw a lot of people then. But the film side, I really want to get back into. It's what got me into Korean culture in the first place. And unlike the Japanese embassy, which still does its fair amount of free films, it doesn't have the seasons like this. I mean, the Japan Foundation do certain things as well, but the Korean Cultural Centre, it has more regular things, and not to mention the London Korean Film Festival, which is pretty big. Even a couple of years ago, we had Bruce Willis there. We had John Malkovich, Helen Mirren, because they were all filming in a film with other Korean actors, but they were all in the same auditorium as us, the same Korean screening. So it's all growing with the London Korean Film Festival. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to find out more, as I say, go to minimovie.com and you can see it all there. Okay, thanks a lot for listening. Bye.